Hello, good evening, welcome to Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be painting my miniatures, hopefully along with the company of you fine folks, to kind of get through my big, ever-expanding plastic mountain of grey mess that it never seems to go away. So come and join me this evening to slap some colour on your grey plastic. If you are new here, Easy 8's not a tutorial show. Maybe it is. Maybe in some ways it is. I hope it is. I hope you learn a little something from it, but it's not intended to be that. If you want to find some like really cool tutorials and stuff, there's loads of that stuff already out there. But by all means, come along and try and learn something, and let me know if you do. But otherwise, you can make some friends with all the guys over there in the live chat. You can just kind of bring your painting along. You might not be painting, you might be making, you might be writing some music. We've had people doing that in the past as well. Basically, it's just here to kind of make some friends with these guys over here in the live chat, have a little chat with me, and tell me all your success stories, or your failures, because it's all a part of the learning curve, isn't it? Sometimes, you know, the best mistakes are the ones that make you sit there and go like, what am I doing? Because that's exactly what I've been doing with these miniatures over the last few months, my little Adeptus Mechanicus army, where I've not been able to quite get everything right, and then one day it all just came together, and I'm absolutely cruising through these miniatures. And some of you guys have been sharing some wonderful photos as well, so if you're working on a project this evening, please do tell me, do let me know, because I genuinely get inspired and motivated by all of the things that you do, and sharing the pictures up on Facebook or over on Discord, which is a couple of other platforms as well. Then yeah, I'd love to see them, and hopefully you can tell me what you think about my miniatures. This is the last week that I'm going to be working on this project. I hope that I finish them this evening. There's a little bit of stuff to do, and while it's only a small amount of things, it could be quite time consuming. So I hope that I'll get through it all. I'm absolutely certain that I'll be finished by the weekend, which is cool. I was about to say what I've been doing over the last couple of days, but before I do that, what I'd like to say is please do subscribe. I've forgotten what I was going to say, so I was like, this is not an edited show, it's not scripted at all, so just come along and make fun and have some fun and make some friends and be a friend and don't judge me. But please do subscribe to the show if you like what we do here, if you like the community, you like what it's all about. Please do subscribe. We're at nearly 200 subscribers. That's a fantastic number as far as I'm concerned. I would love to see that number grow and grow and grow. And that only does so if you share a word of Easy 8. Go and tell some friends, put up a little poster at work or something. Wear a t-shirt with Easy 8 written on it. Get people asking, what's Easy 8 all about? And then they'll go, you weirdo, why are you painting little models for? And then you can tell them. We've got a few people joining us in the live chat this evening already. We've got Shiv from Table of Horrors. Hi, dude. We've got Brethren Tabletop War Games. Nice to see you again, mate. How are you doing? Stafford Causey has returned. Nice to see you again, mate. Thank you very much for stopping by. Crumb Studios here. And my dad, Jeff, is here as well. Stafford's there saying, oh, you're late. Yeah, I am late. Only by a little bit. I had to go get myself some water because I've been poorly over the last few days. And I'm going to be not drinking the grown-up juice today. I'm just on the water because, oh, what a couple of days it's been. I have found some time to do a little bit of painting, though, which has been a nice little pleasant distraction. But I'm just drinking the hard stuff today, just water. Happy weekend, and cheers. Please don't forget to subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up if you like what we do, or even if you just like me. That would be great. Yeah, and I'm going to take you very swiftly over to the workbench. Because I'm just going to crack on today. Cat hair there, just get rid of that. It's always a cat hair. So people are talking about the cats in the live chat this evening. Yes, only 5 more subscribers until I let the little cats into this studio. I guarantee you, you're not going to see them. They're just going to be in here causing mayhem, and you just have to take my word for it. But they're going to go in behind the storage curtain over there. That's where I keep some bits and pieces. They're going to be wandering in behind the monitor over there. They might jump up on the table, but they're going to be causing mayhem. I will let them in, but you got to get me to 200 subscribers before that happens. Yeah. Crumb says, evening, how's life? Just 5 sock puppet accounts until the fairy ones make an appearance. Yeah, do you know what? I subscribe, isn't it? I'm not going to argue with that. Brethren says, I'm painting 19 Roman Hastati. Have I said that right? And I would love to know what Roman Hastati is. I'm actually fascinated by the Roman Empire and sort of the history behind Rome and all that. I think it's fantastic. I've never been to Italy. I would love to go. My partner's not into the history of it at all. I live a few hours drive away from Bath in the UK, which, if you know anything about Bath, is steeped in Roman history. And I've never been into the actual baths themselves. I've always been like into Bath, beautiful city by the way. So we paid some money, we went in there, and I had a walk around, and I had an epic time. And I'll tell you what, my partner must have thought that there was something very interesting on the ceiling, because she was walking around like this all day. It was great. I had a fantastic time. She was bored out of her mind. And I remember walking past a little bit where you've got all the old like paving stones or whatever that have all been dug away and unearthed. And I was stood there, I was fascinated by them, and she's right beside me going, Danny, it's literally a stone. So I don't think she'd enjoy even the Colosseum. But I'd love to go there. Table of Horror says, you live a few hours away from Bath. Christ, man, I can walk to my shower. Yeah, well, I'm a boy. I don't wash. I'm self-cleaning. So yeah, cheers to that. Yeah. Love to know what Hastati are. I'll have a drink for you, says Dad. Cheers, mate. Thanks very much. Shiv says, success, my sanguinary regard. That's so hard to say. Sanguinary regard for Horus Heresy are coming along. Failure, I keep using my coffee by mistake for paint water. You don't do that. Goodness me. Yeah, gross. Just going back over the chat here, seeing if I've missed anything. Staff says he's painting his tanks. Yep, they don't paint themselves. You're absolutely right there. Yeah, and some people talking about the heat. Yes, the heat has returned. It is balmy million degrees here in the studio, and well, I just got to deal with it. It has been very, very warm at work today, and yeah, there we go. That's that. It's been very warm at work today. Had a great time. I've been poorly over the last couple of days. I struggle with migraines, and I've been having an attack of migraines this week. I don't really know what causes it. I'm one of those very unlucky people that get all of the major headache types. So I get tension headaches, hypertension headaches, stress headaches, migraines, and a very, very rare one called cluster headaches, which is apparently only 0.1% of the population ever get them. And it's very much what I should imagine being lobotomized feels like. It feels like a knitting needle being pushed into the corner of my eye socket. And it's always one eye, and it's horrendous. And then it triggers off migraines to go with it. And I've been suffering from that this week. Never had them last year, and they've just come back again this year. So I've just been taking it easy, drinking lots of water, working as much as I can, and just, you know, trying to make sure that I get some sleep. And I only slept last night was the first night I got some sleep in about 72 hours. And I felt much better today, much, much better, which is why I'm here online today. So yeah, I'm a little bit behind on the painting thing. I did genuinely want to have a little bit more done, but you can't plan to be poorly like that, can you? So you just got to kind of crack on. Most of the work that I need to do today is on this fella here. He's still got a little bit of silver work probably to do on his shoulder pads there. I've been stressing about what colour to do them. Should I do them gold? Should I do them silver? If I do them silver, there's a lot of silver already on him. Will it stand out? Will it just kind of blend away? If I do gold on him, he's got a little bit of gold on him, which I did the other day. I really like all the gold bits on them. But will that blend away into the orange? I think I'm going to go gold to make him stand out a bit more. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Should I do gold or silver for his shoulder pad bits? To give you some kind of context, the other guys that are in his squad don't have them at all. So they just kind of got the little body suits that stick through in their brassy armour. And then the standard infantry types, they have slightly different style. I'm going to call them epaulets or pauldrons, I suppose. They have silvery stuff. But there's a lot more silver on this guy than there is on these guys. Yeah. Cool. What do you think? Would love to know. Crumb says LSD works for cluster headaches. A friend of mine suffers with them as well. I'd love to get myself a handful of that medicinal LSD. That's going to be an interesting topic to talk about this evening, isn't it? Rose gold for the shoulder pads. Rose gold. Yeah, I could do. Do you know what I have been using? Well, you probably know. I've been using the polished gold recently, which is a big step away from the gold that I was using originally, which is glorious gold. You can see the big difference there. One's much, much deeper in its colour. And I think it really works. So rather than using this one with a brown wash like sepia, I've been using this one with the grey wash like basilicon and grey mixed 50-50 with water. And it looks really, really good. To kind of give you an idea, here is all the gold work on this guy here. So the little pommel and cross guard on his sword there. And the funny tassely thing that dangles down there. I might give them a little bit of a dry brush or a highlight with the original gold. Maybe a tiny bit of bright silver just to bring them back out. and there's a little bit of detailing on the top of their backpacks there, and it's just a little bit, just a little accent colour, just to kind of, you know, highlight them a little bit, just to kind of bring them out, add a little bit of flourish to them if you like. Love it. I think it's really cool. So yeah, got to do a little bit of work on those. Got all the little dials and stuff on the backs. I was thinking about doing those in different colours. I don't think the dials would really be colours. They're not like, they're not doing anything, are they? They're just like telling you a readout, so they don't light up really. Maybe they do in like this universe, but I can't see a reason why they would. So I was thinking just about leaving them white. Going to repaint the outside rims on them where a little bit of the white ink has just kind of gone onto them, just to kind of add a little bit of neatness to them, and then a little bit of black or very dark grey just to kind of get the dials in the middle, and hopefully that should stand out. Like all of these models, they've all got a little cog and skull in the middle on their backpacks, so that's probably going to be a little bit time consuming because it just takes a little bit of effort. I have prepared the bases last night because all of the texture paints take a really long time to dry, and if I did that today, I would have been sat here waiting for them to go. So yeah, this one here's got a big rock that I just kind of give a little bit of a basing priming colour. I'm going to pick that out grey, and some of them now have all got like little bits of sand and things on there. I just wanted to mix up a little bit of textures on the bases really, and that's all going to go a nice browny colour with some pigments and stuff, just like this walker here. Get rid of all this other cat hair that seems to be accumulating everywhere. So that's the colour scheme that's going to go on there. So we will get there hopefully today. Other bits and pieces. I finished off all the little pouches. All the little pouches look really good on them. That's a khaki colour, stained with Agrax Earthshade, and then highlighted with the original khaki colour. No frills. Absolutely love it. I've been doing all the hoses and all the details with the hoses the last couple of days. So put a little bit of dark grey on those. Yeah, all coming together. I've got to do their eyes. Their eyes need little dots of white in there and then some blue ink dropped in them, and hopefully that'll make them look really, really cool. So I might start with that this evening. Let's do that. Crumb says, a thin layer of your lighter gold on a base of dwarven flesh to give a rose gold appearance. Yeah, why not? I like that. I might give that a little bit of a try. Got some bits and pieces stuck to my worktop. Let's get... Ugh. I don't like sensory overload. Don't like textures on the worktop. There we go. Cat hair is like glitter, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, my cats as well, because they don't let you brush them, and they're in the summer molt, and it's everywhere. Does my head in. Anyway, okay, cool. Gonna crack on. I'm going to get some white paint. This is the white paint that I'm using, isn't it? Yeah, cool, lovely. To give this a bit of a shake. I don't want to use the white ink because the white ink will run, because it's very runny. I don't want it to necessarily run into the eye sockets of these models. I spat then very slightly, so sorry. I don't want it to run into the eye sockets. I just want it to be on like the eye lens, and the lenses are very, very small on these models. And then what I want to do is just drop a little bit of blue ink into those eye sockets, and where it runs into the darkness of the eye socket, it will look like the light is faded a little bit, but in the middle where the bright white is, hopefully it should look like a light source. That's my plan. And hopefully that will contrast really starkly against the dark and imposing face masks that they've got on there. That makes sense? And they've all got these like little secondary lenses and whatever. I'm going to do them exactly the same way because there's no need to, no need to overcomplicate it. Staff's there telling me that I should give it a WAS. I absolutely should. I just don't have a WAS anymore. Maybe the WAS is just a sign of the bygone times, you know? That's not going to go down very well. Right. Bit of water there. Oh look, I used the last of my tissue the other day. Let me get some new tissue out from my new tissue dispenser. Thank you, Hobby Zone. Nice if I didn't clutter my desk, which I've got all this new Hobby Zone stuff to stop cluttering my desk, but never mind. Here we go. This is extremely exciting, isn't it? Oh, I pulled it out. I have got a very, very heavy roll of kitchen roll in there. There we go. Lovely. That needs some practice. Yikes. Cool. Let's get some white paint in here. So tell me, it can't just be Brethren that's painting anything tonight. What are you painting this evening? Are you struggling with your paint jobs? Are you having any successes? Buy new Wasamatic, please. Yeah, okay, I'll get around to it. Okay, I missed that eye. Just warming up. That has done the literal opposite to what I wanted it to do. That ran into the eye socket and not on the eye itself. Okay, let's try again. I have the shakiest hands today. This is what happens if you haven't slept for 3 days. That really stands out. I really like that. Put googly eyes on it. On this guy, or you're talking about the Waz? If you keep Wazzing by hand, you'll go blind. It's a family-friendly show, I promise. Cool. This is taking a little bit longer than I anticipated because I'm so shaky today. It's been a struggle over a couple of days, to be honest with you. Like on Tuesday, I just sat in the office and I did nothing. One of those days, you know? Cool. It's almost a shame about the little lenses on the side there, because I think that the actual eye is very intimidating, very imposing, and I think it would have suited it if it had that on both sides. But you know, can't ask for everything. Okay, this might take me a million years to get this done. That came out perfect, let's go. Looking kind of fun. Well, that's 2 down. Let's get a bit faster now. Jeff says, I'm still finishing American Civil War snake fences, a ton of World War I trenches, samurai baseboards, a Martello tower, and a medieval German tower. Workshop's a bit busy at the moment. Yep, sounds like it. And you were away last week as well, weren't you? In the glorious world of Tewkesbury, the medieval reenactment over there. How was that? I've been told it was an incorrect temperature. Oh, and a 54mm farm as well. Yeah, why not? Just add an extra thing in there too. Oh yeah, I ruined that one. Let's get in there quick and wash that up before it dries and ruins the whole thing. Oh yeah, that's drying. Don't like that. Okay, what we'll do, we'll come back to that one in a minute, and I'm going to go in there with a little bit of airbrush cleaner, and hopefully just agitate that paint up. I'm just going to let the water dry a little bit that I've just applied in there. It happens. We make mistakes. And I make a lot of mistakes. And as you know, as my painting journey goes on, I do find that I am getting better. I compare myself to, you know, when I first started my Easy 8 journey, how far I've come, even how far I've come like over the years of being a painter, and I still make simple mistakes. Simple mistakes. And I think it's important to talk about those, and you know, even the pros out there must be making mistakes and stuff all the time. We try to compare ourselves to the pros so much that you know, I think it's a healthy discussion to have. Holding this one upside down because the eye's on the other side of the head and it's easier to hold. Okay, there's that one done as well. I'm going to come over to the leader guy because he's got some eyes as well. He's actually got two normal eyes, or two like helmety eyes, rather than the funny little cyborgy widgets. Stafford says, take a rough guess at what I'm painting. Tank track, says Jeff. Yep, it's always tanks, isn't it? Always tanks. Cool. I've got two dots in each eye, and it makes him look like he's got some sort of weird split iris thing. Oh well. Better roll with it. Just gonna stop being precious about it, just gonna go with it. Which guy was it? Was it this guy? Yeah, that's the guy I fluffed it with. Right, okay. Just a little drop. Cleaner, thank you. That highlight is yet to come. I'm just wazzing my camo paint. Have you got a Wazamatic or are you hand wazzing? Okay. Just ran out there at the end. header. That stands out a little bit, doesn't it? Stafford says, hand wazzing, of course. I'm still waiting for an Easy 8 Wazzomatic to hit that market. Yeah, we're going to need a few more subscribers before we get there, I'm afraid. I'll leave that job entirely in the hands of the community. Share, share, share. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I know it's a mediocre show. I know it's just a dude in his attic streaming and whatever. But bringing people together, I think that's got some charm, right? It's nice to be the reason that people get together. Everyone's always so nice and charming when they're talking about the hobby and helping each other out, and I think it's something special. And if you like that, then you should definitely subscribe. Not to feed my broadcaster ego. I hopefully don't have one. But if I do, yeah, so what? I do this for me and for you. Subscribe, subscribe. Make the community grow. See my cats. Got a little light here, or lens or something on the side of his head, and I just can't get the paint to go in it. There we go. You just can see it. Crazy. Right. Did someone say Easy 8 merch? Yes. I said I will absolutely start sorting out some Easy 8 merch for you guys if that's what you want. As another thing that I will do at the 200 subscriber mark. So not only will I show you my cats, which sounds like a euphemism, but it really isn't now that I say it out loud. Yeah, and I will sort out some merch for you. If you really want that, I will make a link so you can get it from another party, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't know how to make hoodies. I just don't. Cool. So, I think what I should start doing now, at the very least, is getting some paint on these bases. They've all just had some Sterland mud, which is dark brown texture paint, which is the dark brown bit that you can see on them. They've all got like some rocks or something like that. Some of them have got some cracked earth, some of them have got some sand, and they look a little chaotic, a little bit mishmash. And I don't want that, so I want to paint them all to kind of like blank canvas them all. So, here we go. I use Hull Red by Model Air. Model Air to be precise. And I'm going to paint everything in this colour. I'm not too fussed about the rocks so much because I'm going to paint the rocks grey. But this rock here, for example, is a piece of cork. And I painted it all brown just to get some paint on it. To stop it looking like cork. Yana has joined us. Hi, Yana. Nice to see you again, mate. How are you? Long time no see, no speak. Paint there. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. My army painter brush. Okay, it's a bit of a rougher job, I think. And I'm just going to go straight on in. I'm going to paint over all the cracked earth and everything. Not fussed at all if any of this paint colour ends up on the rims of the bases, because I'm going to paint those anyway. This paint is absolutely designed for going through the airbrush, but if I start trying to dry brush into here, it's just going to be a disaster, so I'm not going to bother. Now, I suppose I could have snapped him off the base, sprayed the bases up, and then glued him back on. Bit traumatic though, innit? Can do without that, I think. This might take a coat or two. Some other comments going in. Could do with getting myself a Dry-O-Matic. Yeah, I got mine donated to me by a lovely dude in the live chat. Thank you so much. Although in this weather, not really needed. Just leave him on the side for 2 minutes and it'll be completely dry. 30 seconds and it's dry, dry to the touch at the very least. For the love of all things holy, don't tell Kess. A lot of YouTubers have a Hello Kitty Dry-O-Matic. Right, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, Kez is into all things furry, Hello Kitty and all that sort of stuff. Takes all sorts. I love dinosaurs and spacemen, so I can't really say much, can I? Everybody's into dinosaurs though, right? Right. It's not just me on that one. Okay, one of the reasons that I chose Sterling Mud is that sometimes it can be very difficult trying to paint the whole base when you're trying to get in underneath the model. And I found that Sterling Mud, should I say, is a nice colour that complements along with this hull red colour. So as long as I've painted Sterling Mud on there somewhere, and I like miss bits and whatever, I can sort of pass it off as a bit of a deliberate stylisation. So if there are little bits, especially under his legs, under his cloak or whatever, that I can't get to, I think it's just going to work into my hand. So yeah, done. Might have to come back and paint some more on it in a second for a second coat, but that's okay. This one here's got a load of sand. Don't know how that's going to paint. Might be awkward. I've run out of paint, so I'll just get some more. Again, if I was airbrushing this, it'd be much quicker, but it's not the hardest thing to paint. It just takes a bit of time. And again, I was really just experimenting for textures. I watch a channel that mostly does shorts on YouTube called What Are You Painting Now? And I believe that the channel is Commission Painter and his partner. Maybe they're both commission painters. I think it's just him that's a commission painter, but they're both into the hobby, and they just do like advice videos, advice shorts, and sometimes just motivational shorts, and they're really worth watching. And sometimes they like give tips and tricks and just general nice speeches and talk about, you know, why we paint things, etc. And on one of their shorts a little while ago, they were talking about making their own texture paints and how you would do that. And I was kind of taken aback by how easy it is, but at the same time, the ingredients that went into it were not what I was expecting. So obviously you find your colour paint that you want to use. So in this case, I would use maybe like hull red or a nice earthy brown, like a dark earth brown, if I was just to do the Sterling Mud, for example. You get a grit size of sand that you're wanting the texture to be in your paint, and then you mix in a load of PVA glue, like craft glue. I say craft glue because there are some wood glues out there that look like PVA glue, but when they dry very, very sort of browny orangey. You know, that's what I mean. So I use Gorilla Glue for a lot of my construction stuff, for like making all my hobby zone stuff here. That dries not white or clear, it dries very orangey browny. So get some like just poster glue, like PVA glue, and just mix it all in. And you mix in quite a lot of the PVA glue, and I suppose that just kind of adds like the viscosity for your texture paint. Otherwise what you've got is some sand in some paint. And it was only a short video, so it was only like 60 seconds, but when he was mixing it up, it looks legitimately like the stuff that you spend a lot of money on in the shops. So yeah, if anyone makes their own paints, or feels like after hearing my piece on that wants to make their own paints, I would love to know and follow your progress. I am considering giving it a go myself, but at the moment I've got a lot of things to paint, and I've got a lot of paint, so I might as well just keep on using it, right? And I'm also just very, very busy at work, and the time that I do get to spend on my hobby is the only time I get to spend on it at the moment. Starting to get someone out. The bases is a really exciting time for the miniatures because it's when it all comes together, isn't it? PVA glue and craft paint, says Crumb Studio. Yeah, there you go. Don't go and like waste really expensive paints on it. You want lots of it. If you live in the UK, go to your nearest craft shop, probably the Works, and just buy those really big tubes of paint for a couple of quid. That's the stuff you want. Totally agree with Crumbs there. I just saw that short today before tuning in here. Oh, there you go. Cool. I really like that channel. I think they're really good. And if anyone's interested, go and have a little check. But not right now, because you're watching this show. Thanks for your loyalty. Oh, Easy 8 loyalty cards. Love that. What do you guys think? Do you think... And don't just try to, like, raise my spirits to make me feel good about myself. Be honest with me. Do you think that in some ways I am tutelage? That's the wrong word used, but do you learn stuff by watching me experiment and fail and do certain things? Is it inspiring? Do you learn? Do you come to this channel to learn stuff, or do you just come to this channel for the company to do the stuff that you do with people that enjoy doing the stuff that you do? Because I said at the beginning of the show, it's not a tutorial, but I know my way around a paintbrush. Maybe I can teach something. I don't know. I could teach people, how to thin down paint and put it in an airbrush or apply it for brush. I know what to do. It's the actual doing it that can be the problem. Jeff says, I always add watered down PVA to my paint for terrain. Always add PVA, watered down PVA to your paint. I just never ever would have thought about adding PVA to a paint. I really have to experiment with it now as well. Maybe not today, because I really want to get these done, and it'd be great if I can get them done on the show. I don't think I'm going to. I really want to. Crumb says it's a good place to spend a Friday night and I don't wake up with a headache. Oh, lovely. Cool. Love that. Yeah, no hangovers here. Certainly not after tonight anyway. Like I say, I'm not on the grown-up juice today. Just I think it's a good idea to not mix migraines with alcohol. Like, don't be wrong, like I feel that a drink might do me the world of good and send me to sleep later on. But I just don't think it's a good idea. The headaches are debilitating as well, so I'm just not going to bother. But I'm glad you don't wake up with a hangover. That's great. I missed one. Shiv says, I had a recurring dream about making paint. Guess you could say it was a pigment of my imagination. How do you do it every week? You're sitting there with a pen really frustratingly trying to get that joke in there, aren't you? Like, gotta find one. Stafford says, it's the community spirit and motivation that I come along for. I really dislike painting, but at least it's now getting done. That's lovely. Try to find the joy in it, though. I mean, obviously there's an aspect to the hobby that you do like, and if painting is taking up such a large part of it, do try to find a way to have more fun with it. You never know, you might surprise yourself. Of course, if it's bothering you, just spend the money and get a professional painter to do it for you. You don't have to just do those. You can obviously not enjoy it and still paint. But I'm glad you find the community here so rewarding as well. So, yeah, like I paint here during the week by myself, and while I think I do a better job because I'm not trying to like get as much done as I can on the camera to make it like I'm making loads of progress, which is a subconscious thing and I can't help that. I do take longer and it is a lonely task sometimes, which is why I enjoy the Discord show so much. The Discord channel, should I say. So if you are interested, you can join me and some of the other members of the community after the show at the Easy 8 After Party Discord, where I will be for a little while at the end of the show, maybe finishing off these models, maybe just doing a little bit extra. But it's always nice to go and have a little chat. I won't be on for ages and ages tonight because I think I do need to try and get some sleep at some point. I've got a big day tomorrow for our summer holidays are finally upon us at work. So where I work normally we have school groups and stuff coming and doing their residential stays, doing lots of adventure activities and things like that. But no more schools. No. For now we go into summer holidays and unaccompanied children. So kids come away with their friends or their brother or sister or something like that, or often by themselves. And they just learn to be without their families for a week. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. Do some really cool adventure activities, make loads of friends, and just have a really nice holiday. But of course that means a lot of work, a lot of responsibility for me and my team. We've got a lot of work to do tomorrow before they start arriving. And I love this time of year because it is really rewarding, and kids are a great audience. I don't have children myself, can't say I really do want them. Me and my partner are both very much in the same mindset of that, but I do like working with children. I think they're fantastic people. Young children, older children, they're all so funny sometimes, and they think that I'm there to entertain them, but actually they're there to entertain me, and they do a very good job of it. Today, for example, we had a very interesting adventure involving a marauding host of bees. So we've had a hive, or should I call it a swarm of minor bees. Those are not bees that are underage. That is bees that tend to burrow. They are stingless, and they're nomadic, and they basically just kind of travel around. They follow the queen. She sets down for maybe a week, maybe a little bit less. They sit around for a little bit. They look after her, and then they move on. And they've been sat in a little hole in the side of one of our roofs on one of our buildings. And because they're stingless, they've been right beside the guest, and the guests have been very interested, and they go right up to them, and they kind of come over and sort of buzz around a little bit. And today they decided that it was the time for them to leave. And they packed up shop, they left the little hole in the roof, and then they travelled across the centre a couple 100 yards, and sat in a tree where me and my other colleague, who's also called Danny, were running a zip wire session with the children. And about 1,000 bees just... My boss turned up and I was like, hello mate, what are you doing here? And he just pointed and went, bees! And there was thousands and thousands of bees just flying around, and my mate was up atop of a pole 35 feet off the floor, and my boss said you should probably get down from there. So he had to launch himself off on the zip wire as the bees were trying to like find a home in his shoes. So yeah, and they sat in the tree just like a couple of yards behind us. When they calmed down, they just kind of formed together in this big blob, like not like out of Winnie the Pooh, like the big hive thing. But I don't think it'll be long before they start making some sort of a structure there. It won't be. I don't think they make like a honeycomb. I don't think they do that. I know that's down to honeybees, right? But they might make some sort of a nest of some description, perhaps. And as they were settling down, they were like forming this big bee drip, and eventually like this big drip of bees went bleh on the floor, and it was fascinating to see. But yeah, when you're strapped to the top of a 35-foot telegraph pole, trying to look after children, not fun when you're being swarmed by bees. What an adventure that was today. Brethren says, I'm not a fan of painting either. I've trained myself to speed paint in order to get it done as fast as possible. Please tell us your tricks. Are you happy with the quality of painting that you do? Do other people think that your painting is really good? Have you fooled people? Or are you fooling no one? And you could do with not speed painting to make them better. I've tried the whole speed painting thing, and I just find myself getting bogged down because I just can't do it. I get sucked into the details, and I end up spending like a month on just like one model. So I've been trying to train myself to not be so precious. I suppose that's kind of a very similar thing, isn't it? Your speed painting. I'm trying to meet like halfway house, get my rank and file miniatures sort of speed painted. But maybe to a level between tabletop quality and speed painting quality. Is speed painting even a quality? It's just a style. I don't know what I'm talking about now. So I've tried. I haven't used the speed paints from Army Painter, for example, but I have used like the contrast paints, and I just found that I wasn't getting much out of them. Perhaps it was just the way I was using them. But I really struggled to produce good results. Now I know that speed paints and contrast paints and the such were made not with the intention of... They were sold and advertised, or marketed really, as a way of kind of getting your big armies done. Just slap some paint on it and it make it look like it was a pro painter did it, and it was a way of getting new people into the hobby fast. And producing some results that they looked at and went, wow, that's not half bad, and it's exactly what they did quite well. But in the hands of a professional painter, if they are used differently, they are just another type of a filter paint, or like a wash paint, or a staining paint. But other paints within the range, and I'm talking specifically here within Citadel, some of them are like higher viscosity, some of them have a higher pigment count. So you can get different qualities and different properties out of the different colours alone in the contrast paints. But in terms of speed painting with them, I really struggled, and I think that's just because I've been painting for so long in a specific way. Rather than like learn a new technique, I think what I need to do is just adapt my existing style with the products and techniques that come out. For example, I tried doing slap chop on Gasgol, the giant orc leader, over October last year, and while I'm very, very happy with the results, it was not as easy as I had it made out to be to me. Now that could just be my interpretation on all the videos that are out there on slap chop, but as I actually started slap chopping, I was ruining what I was doing, so I had to kind of ad hoc newer ways and just kind of use it as a bit of a stylized technique on zenithal painting more than anything. Oh, I just pulled off a big flaky bit of terrain. Let's shift that somewhere else. Let's get you over there. Cool. As this paint is running into and around and in the sand that's on these bases, it is not looking like sand anymore, and it's kind of adding some sort of thickness to the grains of sand and making it look like it's just a bit of a wasteland, which is kind of the thing that I'm trying to sell, really. Lovely. That's cool. We'll let those dry for a little bit. Come back to them maybe. Let's go back and do some work on the leader man and get his shoulders done. Brethren says it's tabletop quality and it definitely looks it. Tabletop quality. Isn't tabletop quality supposed to be like a good quality though? If it is, good for you. Well done. Like there's like masterclass quality and things like that, of course, and you don't want to do that on every single model, do you? But go by the 3 foot rule. It should look really, really good by 3 foot. And if you pick up the model and have a slightly closer look at it, it should still look kind of cool. But you can start seeing like, oh, you've done this and this, and I can see how you kind of cut that corner. And then maybe when you get up close, you can go like, oh yeah, this is where I could learn or improve and do things like that. And I see what you've done, but it doesn't look as like high definition as like a leader model should look, or a vehicle perhaps. So you would spend more time on that. Sure, that's what I take as tabletop quality, right? And if that's the case, good for you. Love that. Staff says, I too speed paint. My skill level isn't great, but they are playable. I think any painting level is playable. I don't believe in bad jobs of painting, because art is subjective, skill is subjective, because it's all about what you're trying to achieve. I think what art really is, and I've said this so many times now, art is the process of transferring what's in your mind's eye into the real world. That translation between the two. Only you can see what's in your mind, unless you've got some sort of weird power or machine, and then you are trying to make it appear in the real world. Yeah, and I think that's a fascinating skill. Get me to sculpt, and if you, it would be awful, probably a crime against humanity for me to try and do a sculpture of a human or something like that. But there are people out there that do it so well, and it all works from their mind. Right, let's do some work on this guy. I like the idea of doing the gold. I don't know if I want to do the whole rose gold thing, not because I don't think that rose gold's not a good idea. I do think it's a good idea, but I kind of want to get him done now. So I'm just going to go with my mixture of gold here. I do want to explore the rose gold idea though. Cool. What brush am I going to use? Let's use that one. My number 0. If this is wrong, if it looks wrong when it goes on there, I can just go over with some silver. I suppose there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Now I've gone back to using the airbrush polished gold because I found that the brushable version was so viscous, it had a texture, it didn't behave in any way that you want it to. Generally, it was an awful paint to use, but exactly the same colour from exactly the same supplier, just in an airbrush range, a little bit waterier, and it is designed for airbrush. Being a bit waterier, it doesn't have a very strong pigment at all, but that's okay because I can just take a couple of coats to do it. And I'm going to stain this with a basilicanum grey wash. Gold is working for me at the minute. I just need it to cover that orange, because the orange just makes it look a little bit weird, frankly. I'm going to come in here with my micro brush in a bit, I think, just to kind of get in close to some of these details underneath the arm. While the 0 is a good size brush, sometimes you need something a little bit more 0. What do you think? Is it a good colour? It'll be alright. Right? Yeah, I'm going to roll with it. I I've got a feeling silver's going to be the way forwards. Shiv says, one good thing about this warm weather is that the impatient people like me aren't waiting long for the paint to dry. Absolutely. While it is unbearable in the studio some summers, today it's okay. It is warm, but I'm not sweating a mighty sweat for sure. Yeah, it does have the added bonus of drying my paints quicker. I miss watching paint dry. It's better than Love Island. Just don't watch Love Island. Oh, got a little bit onto his cloak. Just going to wash that off. I definitely need to move to the smaller brush now. Smaller brush, here we go. Got all my windows open here in the studio, and I can hear dog toys being squeaked in the background. If you can hear squeaky dog toys, it's not like a hidden message, cry for help or anything like that. Everything is okay. People walk their dogs behind my house. My cats don't like that. Slightly tricky just to get him behind the head of the hood here, because there's the gap where his head would obviously come through, and he's wearing a cloak with a hood on it, and I don't want to get it on the fabric of his cloak, and I also don't want to get it on his backpack, which we seem to be backing right up against here. So just try to take my time. Getting somewhere. The orange unfortunately is showing through the gold a little bit, so it yeah, makes it, kind of gives it a bit of a hue that I don't really want. We've still got a few bits and pieces like in around his face, some like a little hose attachments that need a little bit of silver in there, and there's also still like a little silver plug on his leg that I need to address and paint silver as well, so we still need to do a little bit of work on this guy. Now that I'm starting to paint this detail, I can see that in between all his hoses, you can see like little bits of pauldron and epaulets or whatever you want to call them in there. And by painting them gold, it does make them stand out against the rest of the silver that's in around his face. So for that reason, I think gold was a good choice for this colour here, because it just makes it stand out against all the little tiny silver bits that will be in here later. You can see there's a little bit of silver here, a little bit of silver there. This orange bit on his nose will be silver as well. So just all these little details. turn him upside down, just get some of the under crofts, if that's the right term to use. Not going to worry about getting all the way inside his shoulder pads there, because you're never really going to see in there. Just want to make sure that under the lip of these little details are all good. There's a little bit around the back of the arms here that I don't want to miss. I think that'll be good. And we're pretty much ready for a break, I think. So I'm just going to make sure that this gold is all done in here. Yeah. Come back in a minute after letting that dry for 10 minutes over the intermission. And yeah, give it a bit of a stain with basilicanum grey, like I have with all the other gold, because that gold at the moment stands out quite a bit. I think we can all agree. But the gold elsewhere on him really sort of blends in with the rest of the tone of the model, and I like that. Just to wipe most of the paint off my brush. I just use the edges of a bit of a dry brush and just see what it's like if I just enhance some of the other details. I've already painted gold. I really like that. Dry brushing is a good way of getting those existing details brought out. That's nice. That's just a little thing that I'm ever going to see, but I like it nonetheless. Okay, cool. There we go. So wash my little brush out there. Most things are better than reality TV, to be fair, though, says Shiv. Yeah, absolutely. I've just never understood it. Do you know what? The original Big Brother was an interesting project. I watched a little bit of it, like some snippets and whatever. I just don't get the sitting there watching it. And the one that really gets me, for all of the American viewers out there, or just foreign viewers, I'm just really sorry about this, but Gogglebox, it's a silly word and a silly show. It's watching people on the TV, watching the TV and talking about it, and that just, I find it bizarre that anyone would do that, and I find it bizarre that it's been a successful program. A coffee does sound good, says Shiv. So does a vodka. Yeah, do you know what? There's a part of me going, go on, get a vodka. I just don't want to risk the headache, so I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to go and get myself another glass of water, and I think I'm going to make myself a cup of tea while I'm at it. Whatever it is that I do, whatever it is that you do, you should definitely go and change your paint water, and I'll see you in 10 minutes. Bye-bye. Welcome back. All that time, had the microphone on. You could have heard something incriminating too. Apologies, how very unprofessional of me. I just looked at the microphone and realised that it was on. So, yeah, you heard lots of things. I didn't say anything or do anything. I just came in, did some painting, made myself a cup of tea. So, happy weekend and cheers to everybody. Yep, that tastes of burning. Great. I hope you're all having a great weekend so far. I hope you're having a great evening painting all the stuff that you're painting or making or doing whatever it is that you're doing. Don't forget that if you're new here or if you just haven't done it before and you do like what we do, please do consider subscribing to the show because it helps the community grow. That's what we want. We want the community to grow so we can kind of share our passion, our hobby with other people who are like-minded. And we are a record number so far of 195 subscribers, and that makes me warm inside. And it's not just because it's warm outside or because I've weed myself because I'm getting old. That's just generally a happy, good feeling. So thank you very much to everyone who's been a part of it all so far. And, you know, here's to more people joining. Hadn't thought that through properly. So, yeah. If you are working on something this evening, do come and let me know. Let the group know over here. I've just finished, just gone back to painting the bases that I was painting a minute ago. As the paint dried, I realised that there were a few spots that just were kind of shining through a little bit less covered than others, so just trying to make sure that there's no blemishes that look bad. But I'm also trying to take advantage of the fact that that might give me a little bit of depth, a little bit of variation on the terrain that I've made, that I've painted. Some change of hues, some different colours in there perhaps. But otherwise, it's all widely, the same. There's a few little spots of white where like the sand is showing through, and that's basically what I'm trying to really get rid of. I might go in there in a second and do a little bit of shading with like Agrax Earthshade, which is a really dark brown. It might be really good for doing some shadows around some of the rocks and things. Let that dry, paint those stones up, those rocks up to look grey, and hopefully they should look really, really awesome. And everything is drying really, really fast here in the studio, which is lovely. So here we are. I'm just going to take you straight back to the workbench. Here we go. So yeah, I've just repainted the base on him. You can see that's already pretty much dry. That gold is showing up lovely on his shoulders there. I might give that one more go because I can see a little bit of orange showing through it, and that bothers me. But it might all disappear with a little bit of basilicanum grey on there anyway. There's a couple of little bits of silver that I want to bring back out on him. And if you notice, there is this sort of line of silver, this little weird armature thing that kind of comes down from under there. Originally, I hadn't painted that, so I only painted that the other day. That needs a little bit of basilicanum grey on there as well, just to kind of shade that in there. There's a little bit there in his faceplate. There's a little bit of a plug in here. And I didn't paint all of this leg piston here, so you can actually see a little bit of orange on there as well. It stands out quite a bit. So I just got to kind of finish those off. Then I can stain those all grey and kind of do it all together in one go. Don't think I'm going to get it all done on tonight's show, but you can really see how these little guys are coming along. I'm really, really happy with them. I think they look absolutely stunning. I'm really happy with the colour choices that I've done. And I like the work on it so far. I'm actually really, really proud of these. And I wouldn't say that they're my best work. There's a lot of experimental stuff on here that I think needs some fine-tuning, like these swords. I think these could be better. This particular set of swords aren't the best, but on some of them it actually looks really good. Here, for example, is probably the best one, where you can see that there's a little bit of blue, a little bit of dark grey in there. And so I said last week that it looks a little bit like an oily blue colour. And yeah, now you said that, I can't shift that idea out of my head. I really like the appearance of it. I just don't think it was what I was looking for. I was looking for something that had some kind of sort of electrical power on it to kind of represent that they weren't just steel blades, that there was something else going on in there. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll keep thinking. Guinness is better, says Stafford to Jeff's vodka. Camouflage is the mistake when you put your brush in it. Yeah, I bet it does. Guinness is a little too on the heavy side for me. I like a slightly lighter ale than that. I've got water and tea because water's probably very good for me today. But I need a little bit of caffeine. I am one of those people, because I'm so ADHD, I actually use caffeine not as a stimulant, but as an opposite to a stimulant, as a kind of a mood regulator. It actually helps me keep my sleep rhythm in place. And I actually have to have a cup of tea before I go to bed. I don't know what it would be like if it was coffee. I don't really drink coffee. Occasionally I do. But yeah, if I don't have tea, it will throw me right out the window. Bit weird, isn't it? Some people I know, especially with ADHD, can't even touch coffee because it'll be like crazy. But yeah, for me, gotta have it. I think it's just because I'm overwhelmingly British. Just ask John Takax from Out of This World Models and Minis, who took me up on the Marmite Challenge probably this time last year. No spoilers, but you can go through my history and find it if you want to, or just type in Out of This World Models and Minis Marmite Challenge. It's worth a watch. If you don't know who John is, or if you haven't seen the stuff for a while, go check him out. There's a link to his channel just downstairs in the description. It's just a very cool dude from the other side of the great big pond, and just paints whatever he wants because he likes it, and he does a really good job on them. And yeah, we support each other and each other's channels. I'm fairly certain that a lot of my American cohort, good word use, comes to me because of him and sharing the communities at large. I think he's a really swell dude. You should go check him out. He's a lovely guy. Have you seen John's blight crawler? I've seen it, but I haven't seen the video of it yet, just because I've been busy at work and otherwise poorly and incapacitated. But I've seen the little short video where it's where it's moving, and I'm not going to give it away, but a very popular meme recently has inspired that video, and I've seen the picture of it, and I think it's very, very cool. The Nurgle toothy thing on tracks, yeah, I think it's great. Very tonguey. Right, time to paint some rocks. I can't remember what colour I painted the rocks the last time. I think the rocks generally have been too dark, so I'm going to go a little bit lighter this time. I think last time I maybe painted them Eshin Grey. I think I want to be a little bit lighter than that. Not too much lighter, but a little bit lighter maybe. So maybe a bit of Skaven Blight Dinge, which is a tainted grey. It's a little bit lighter, isn't it? That's definitely a colder grey. No, maybe I want to stay away from that as well. I could go with a bit of Dawnstone. I use Dawnstone quite a lot. But the greys, I've got some cold grey up there. See, a lot of pictures I've seen of Mars, and I know I'm not painting Mars, but I'm trying to kind of emulate it in some way. I see a lot of dark grey slabs of rock, like not like just stone rocks like boulders, but like the huge sheets of rock that you see everywhere are very, very dark grey. But I don't think my highlights are light enough. So for now, I think I'll stay with Eshin Grey, which I'm fairly certain is the colour I painted them. Maybe I'll stain it with some Basilicanum Grey. Yeah, and then highlight with more contrast. I think that's what I should do. So I shall do this. Just mix a bit of water into that. It's a very thick paint actually. The Eshin Grey layer paint from Citadel. There's a thick paint. Right, so let's just... Yeah, you can see it's a very dark colour, can't you? I'm not worried about getting all the way down to the bottom and the sides of these rocks, because they're going to be embedded a little bit in the earth, and I'm going to use pigments and stains and things to bring them, you know, to bring that the ground colours back into play. So I'm not worried about trying to find the ultimate edge, the termination edge, if you like, from where it turns from rock to ground. But what I've done there, I think, is pretty convincing so far. This is one of those little projects actually where my neurodivergence can never say that word properly. Neurodivergence can turn into a neurological disorder, like a neuroses, and I can actually just spend so much time just focusing on where the grey should start or stop, etc. And what have I achieved at the end of the hour and a half of that project? A line of grey, well done. And it's just again, just trying to teach myself to be not so precious, and just get some colour on it. And if it doesn't work the first time, go back and do it again, right? But you can see now a little bit of coverage, decent layer, opaqueness, opacity rather, starts to show out from that brown. But just making sure that I spend the time to get that colour all around it, making sure there's no breaks or anything like that, because it just looks like it's been unpainted. Lovely. Okay, cool. It's just a little thing to break up the ground a little bit, to stop it from looking so bland and boring, just to bring your eye into the interest a little bit. Again, tells a story. I'm very much a narrative player. I like the things that happen. I like the people that I'm playing, the characters that are playing in it, how they interact with each other. And on a war game, that is often like how they fight each other and kill each other. That's fine with me. Not there to shake hands and make daisy chains. But Stafford in the live chat now might be able to tell you a little bit about a tournament that we played in. I used to run tournaments for my friends regularly. I say regularly, once a year. In a everyone fights everybody kind of a tournament, and you just take points for win, lose, draw. Stafford was playing Tau at the time, and I was playing Space Marines. And Stafford was holding the battlefield control points, the strategic points. And the end of the game was rapidly nearing, and I needed to contest a point to make it a draw. Not to contest it, but I had to hold it to draw, and all Stafford had to do was to push me off of it to win. So I sent an entire tactical squad of Space Marines to go and stand on it. I made some choicy errors. I stood in front of a broadside team, which is basically just battle suits with extremely heavy weapons on them. They shot me to pieces. That's Sotting Space Marine, there we go. And it was just one Space Marine out of 10 that survived the barrage, and he kept on breaking from his morale and then running away, but Space Marines rally immediately, so he turned back in, and he turned back like 2 or 3 times. Held that point, and I prevented the loss. I didn't win, but I prevented the loss. They say that Space Marines should know no fear. That guy probably did. And that was a long time ago, man. I mean, we're talking 10 years ago. It doesn't feel like 10 years ago, but if you think about it, Stafford, it probably is maybe even more than that. And yeah, I think we're talking sort of 6th, 7th edition there. And here we are still talking about it. Oh, I'm still talking about it. I'm bringing it back up. Painful memories for you, maybe. I just thought it was a delightful little story. The fact that it happened in a game with my friends is even better. But from all these games, you could write a book, and that's kind of what like battle reports really are, isn't it? But I think it would be great if we were able to create some sort of like community story, perhaps a community novel from playing games and just writing all those fun bits and then kind of connecting them together with some sort of community story or short stories and make them into like a novella collection or something. That'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? But as a narrative point of view, my sergeant of that squad got killed, but he stood in and contested that point so well that I actually rewrote my sergeant's name and basically promoted him, because you would. He survived. He takes command of that squad. He gets new recruits. They come and make up that squad, and he starts it from anew. That's how that works, right? But yeah, I actually went to the lengths of changing the names on my army roster, and actually on his banner pole as well, because at that time I had Space Marine banner poles. I thought he deserved it, and I like that. I don't play tournaments like the traditional tournaments to go and just go in with a certain amount of points, certain amount of models on the table, and just go and annihilate someone and win or whatever. I don't do that. I get that people do, and that's absolutely fine. And of course, it's a legitimate play style. It's not for me, and that's where all the rules updates really come into play. So I know quite a few people. Most of my friends are narrative players, and people get quite upset, I suppose, if that's the right word, a bit upset for all the constant rules updates that come out. And frankly, if you haven't got the latest update sheet which updates all your rules and all your update books and whatever, then it's an illegal force, and you've got to stay savvy with the rules, and it's all very headachy. And I just don't play like that. I choose models that I like the look of or like the concept of. I try to shoehorn them into an army list, and I go against my mates who may or may not have similar concepts. I have fought against tournament lists myself, and they're very challenging, but not very inspiring in that narrative concept. I like the story. I like to play the game with beer and pretzels and go, oh, that sodding Space Marine or whatever. The Marine stands there, shrugs and sheepishly says, "For the Emperor?" Yeah, one bloody Marine. Yeah. So, like, we all know, those of us that know Warhammer 40,000 know that Space Marines are not just elite, they are super warriors. They, could pick up a car and throw it a hefty distance. They are strong, they are stern, they are extremely well trained. To fight one is a crazy thing. To beat one is, also insane. One Space Marine is worth, 1,000 men. And there are lots of them. That one Space Marine standing off against the whole broadside team is the sort of heroics you would expect from a Space Marine team, and I love it. And I think that little game sells you the story of their power, their ability. When you see miniatures all of the same scale standing beside each other on a table, rolling the same dice, I've had friends complain in the past, but Space Marines are supposed to be super hard. Why are they rolling only 1+ different than standard humans or whatever? Because it's a game, and you've got to balance it out. You can't not do that. Just enjoy it for what it is. Humans hit things when you roll a 5 or 6. Space Marines hit things if you roll a 3, 4, 5 or 6. It doesn't feel that so far removed, but in the gameplay it makes a massive difference. But also don't think about it too hard. Write your story as you go along and enjoy your tactics, enjoy your experience, and make memories and stories. I think it's fun. Find that difficult in the newer rules of 40k. That's something that I've been reading a lot into lately, and this could be controversial. 1-page rules. If you want to know more, just go and do a simple Google check on 1-page rules. Go check out the website. Just go onto YouTube after the show, obviously. Thank you. And just go and check out one-page rules and see about all the videos of people playing it, because it is a community designed game that you can get for free. You can pay into it for additional stuff on Patreon and all sorts of things like that. But basically, someone has made the game quicker and more interesting. Fascinating, if you want my opinion. So yeah, one-page rules. For me, I think I'm actually gonna start writing up some army lists and start trying to get some of my friends into the concept of one-page rules, because I think a lot of us have fallen out of love with 40k, especially with recent rules and a lot of the newer models and things like that. It always sits there as something we all really like, and we always talk about it. We haven't played it for a while, and I think one-page rules might reignite the passion for it again. And if you don't know one-page rules, you should definitely go and check them out. Even if you don't play, go and check them out. Wonderful. Cool, so the rocks are all base coated, the ground's all base coated. Let's come back to this gold colour a minute. I just want to put one more coat just on the top on there. And then I'm going to do some silver work on it. And then I'm going to stain that. I'm looking at the time now, and I'm almost certain I'm not going to get it finished tonight. But very, very soon. That is the wrong brush. I'm going to be working on another project next week. It is very sassy. Sassy. Some of you in the audience might know what it is that I'm going to be painting next week. No spoilers right now. But it's a commission piece that I'm going to be painting for somebody else. And I'm very excited to be doing it. I've got some reference images and yeah. Got some colour ideas in my head. Something new that I haven't done before, and I do like that. I think this little additional coat of gold has done the trick on just hiding that hue of gold that was starting to creep through a little. I like it. Cool. Gonna get a bit of silver and just finish up those missing bits on him as well. I will be using chainmail silver because it's a slightly darker silver. And this is just a very, very small amount, really. How are all your projects coming along this evening? Are you working on something? Is it working this evening? Have you stopped? Is it not working? Are you tired? Are you having loads of success and just cracking on? Are you cracking out a whip today? Stafford says, well, it's better than my Marines. They tend to run forward shouting blood for the blood emperor of mankind. Yep. Do you know, Blood Angels, they're hard to fight, though. They're hard to fight. They kick butt. One of those things I haven't really thought about are the little nuggets that are sticking out to the top of his hood. Perhaps I should paint those silver as well. He's the only one with them, because obviously he's the only guy with a hood. But I should probably paint those silver too. Going to start off with these little bits and his mask here. Got some little like attachment points that all the hoses clip onto his face. Because, you know, got to have a face hose. It's all the rage in the 41st millennium. Something going on behind these hoses, and I'm not entirely sure what to do about them. Well, I'm just going to paint them silver. Don't be precious, right? DBP. thing is, as I'm looking at it, and you can see very clearly that there's a big line of orange in there, and I know that that is an area that I haven't painted. I wonder if you can all see that if I bring them up close. A little bit out of focus, but just here, in between these hoses, see this? There's that little line of orange in there, and I just need to get that. Thing is, I've already painted the hoses on him, so I need to be so very careful. I should have identified that earlier on. I painted it before I painted the hoses. So this is going to be a minute where I go quiet while I just try and concentrate. What I'm going to try and do is just get enough paint on the very tip of my brush so that I can, I don't have to worry about like paint on the side of the bristles where I would accidentally start painting the sides of those hoses. So clean the brush right out, nice sharp point, and I'm just going to get a little bit of silver right on the very tip of this tiny detail brush, and I'm hoping I should just be able to get that paint in there. Well, that's halfway done. That's really good. That went better than I thought it was gonna. Success! Love that. Push yourself a little bit sometimes, right? Just got to neaten up some of those little attachment points. Some grey stain and neaten those up. Now I've also got a little plug on his leg at the top of his hydraulic ram thingy. There's the top of the hydraulic bit. Love that. Little leg plug halfway done. It's all these little bits and pieces that I've just missed along the way that I just need to spend this evening going along and basically fixing the damage essentially. A little bit in the middle of that line there, wherever that little arm thing is, that little tentacle, that's been painted very well. Lovely. Spin them around quick. We're all good. Okay. Very quickly on the back then, I'm just going to paint the edges of these dials. So where I've just put a little bit of white ink in them, it's just spilled over a little bit onto the raised surfaces of the outside of the dials. And just to neaten them up, just paint those rims. Just tidies that white up a little bit. Add a little bit of water just to make it a bit smoother, transferring from bristle to model. There we go. Don't think silver was the best colour for this. That's all the metals all painted and caught up. What I need to do is stain those. But before I stain them, I'm going to do their eye lenses a minute because I've been looking forward to that bit. Make sure that I've got a clean space for my ink to go into. I've got little white splotches here. I'm going to pour some blue ink in there. It needs a bit of a shake because it's all kind of settled. I love this stuff. Read these comments going in here. Oh, I've missed a few. Crumb says, a possibly chunky woman going, and clicking her fingers in a Z motion, giving you chatting about SASsy. No. That's a very different YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't think you find that on YouTube, mate. Adds skulls to the base of Marines. Ah, yes, this will show they're good guys. Yeah, I love that. Are these guys... Hands, are we the baddies? Brethren says, I've almost finished the skin, tunics and base layer on all the shields of my Romans. I love that. Please take photos if you're willing to and put them up on the Easy 8 Facebook page. Some people have reported struggling to get photos on the Facebook page, but the way that everyone does succeed is by just simply putting them as a comment to this week's schedule. So on the Facebook page you'll find this week's listing, and there's a comment. Just put your photos in there, and that's what most people do. If you can put them to the main page, put them to the main page. Would love to see the stuff that you're painting. Stafford says, so I am attempting magnetised Scherzen on my Jagdpanzer. Ooh, that's bold. Do you know what? Rather than doing magnets, if you struggle with that, you might be able to do like pins and just like you know, slot them in perhaps. But I'm sure like magnets are strong enough to reach through the hull. The magnetism will reach through the hull of those. That'd be fine, right? How goes it, Staff? I don't have the steadiness or the patience to try magnetising. I'll let you know. To be honest though, Crumbs, magnetising is much easier than you think it is. You just got to kind of plan it out and know where your magnets are going to go. Another time I will, because I never leave my chair on the show, I will get my Stormhawk, Storm Talon gunship, sorry. Not Stormhawk, that's like a big one, right? My Storm Talon gunship where I first started playing with magnets, and there was a few bits where I had to drill things out. And other things just kind of slotted into place very easily, and it's solid connections. Got a Dreadnought that's also the same. I had a lot of fun doing it. It doesn't really require steadiness, but you need to get your polarities right, obviously. Jeff says, remember, it's a bottle of 43 for painting my stuff. Okay, love that. Thank you very much. Liquor 43. Here we go. So yeah, Jeff giving a little hint there. The commission is for him. If you want to know more, you can try to get him to talk about the project. Otherwise, it's a bit of a mystery until next week. But I don't mind if he tells you. That's cool. Right, so I want to add a little bit of thinner. Where's my thinner? I had it here earlier. There it is. Lovely. Just going to mix that together. Might be too thin. Who knows? Right, I'm going to start with one of these. I will start with this one. Nice clear face. Soak up a bit of this blue, and hopefully, otherwise I've got to rethink the whole thing. Just going to drop a big blob of this in his eye socket and then just soak up any unwanted cooling of it. That's pulled quite a bit, but I expected that. Now a clean, somewhat dry brush. Just pick some of that out. I can see the white in there ever so slightly, just showing through in the middle. That's quite effective actually, I like that. I think I need to put a little bit of it back in. So I'm going to put another drop in. Oh no, I've just taken it all out. Okay, start again. That's a really, really subtle but really effective appearance. It's so small, but I like it. The white really looks like it's burning hot white, and I really wanted that. We are the last 10 minutes of the show. So sorry, guys. I will be heading over to Discord at the end of the show for, you know, a short time. Like I say, I need to get some rest, I think. Make sure that I'm all ready for work tomorrow. But yeah, I will be over there for a little bit. But enjoying the conversations with you guys over on Discord lately. And if you haven't been to Discord, come and join us. So who? I mean, nothing special happens. We just sit there and have a chat, but that's what it's all about, isn't it? Crumb says, honey-based... I'm sorry, I think I've missed a little bit here. Yeah, it's a very nice drink. It's Spanish. Okay, cool. Is it embassy-based? Honey-based stuff is very nice and goes down well, plus you can get it in your local Tesco. I will put a hint to the project in the Easy 8 comments. Ooh, love that. You can put it in the comments down here as well after the show. I don't think you can comment. Can you comment? Can you comment on a live show? I know that's what the live chat's for. I've never thought about that. I'm just going to open up my phone here, which I can't do because I've got paint on my thumbprint. Can you comment? You can only chat publicly. So when the live stream is finished, you can comment. Yeah, there you go. I'm strictly a live streamer for YouTube. I don't really do edited videos and uploads, so I don't really know that side of the YouTube world. So you have to forgive my ignorance and my innocence. I'll make sure that I'm actually in shot. Here we go. His eye socket there, that's a shame. Oh, that is too much. Sorry, Ant-Man. I think I've thinned the ink down just a little bit too much, so it's just too thin when it goes on. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit more ink. I'm just going to not have it thin so much. Yeah. Can't do main comments yet, just live chat. Yeah, I thought so. It's an easy 8. If you know your 80s history, I do. I think all of us in the live chat do. Far be it for me to assume, but I don't think I'm assuming. I think I'm correct. I think we all know our 80s history here. If you know what I mean. Yeah, I definitely over-thinned it. That's much better. Now, if these were some sort of like Commander model, where I want to spend that little bit more time, like I was talking about earlier on, I would probably try and do OSL effects on these eyes. But they are so tiny. Does it involve an embassy? Maybe. tricky trying to get that blue to stay in the right place. It does want to pull away from the area I'm trying to paint it, especially if it hasn't got an eye socket to sit in. Have to just like leave it on the side of his face there for a minute. Hope that it starts to dry a little. Come in with some capillary action. Just going to draw a lot of that away. Maybe I have to like paint some of it in with some actual paints rather than inks. Back to the first one just to check on that and see how it ended up. Very, very subtle. I'll just drop a little bit more in there. Okay, I'm just going to leave that, see how it goes. Back to the first guy, haven't done his eyes yet, so let's have a little look. It's got two weirdly split pupil bits in there. Very, very small, just need a little bit of blue to drop in. Lovely. Looks really silly when you first plop it in. Looks like I've just got big felt markers. Around 1984, possibly a Hosh's situation. Earlier than 84, sir. Four years earlier, I believe. Okay, cool. Do you know what? One last thing before we go. Just want to put a Basilicanum Grey wash on that gold, just because I think it'll be a nice thing to end with. Not saying. Remember Stafford last week after the show put in the comments going Basilicanum Grey wash, that's new. No, it's not even a real product. I just mix water 50-50 into Basilicanum Grey and it makes a really nice wash for metals and just generally a nice unifying colour as well. So yeah, what I do is I just get a little pipette so that I can measure my drops perfectly. I'm just going to go for one drop of each today because I'm only going to be using a little bit. So there goes one drop. I might do a little. So I'm going to do a little bit on the stones. Do you know what? I'm going to do 3 of each because that's what I always do. And I'm going to do some on these rocks maybe later. So just clean the pipette out so it doesn't look like the paint doesn't dry inside and block the hole. Put a bit of water there, and then I'll put 3 drops of paint in. So I'm going to put in 1. There's quite large drops, so I'm going to leave it at that. But normally it'll be 50-50. So no more likely then, okay, I think I know what it is, but not 100% sure. Oh, it's right now. Yeah, that's the spirit, mate. Maybe I could do a bit more water in there. Okay. With a small brush because I'm working in such a small area here and I don't want this stuff to run right all over the place, but here's my little wash that I've made of Basilicanum Grey. So just going to change that colour entirely now, take away that cheap gold toyish armour appearance, slap this stuff on, dulls it right down, blends it away, brings out all the definition of the details that are in there, unifies it with the rest of the model. Bosh! And that looks really, really nice. See, this is a contrast paint working in a way that it wasn't necessarily intended to. And that's why I like contrast paints, is because they should just be another tool at an individual's, brush tips. It shouldn't be, I don't think, it shouldn't necessarily be, you can paint your whole army, make it look really good with just one thick coat, which is how it was originally sold. Nice marketing strategy, and it certainly brought people into the game. And for that purpose, do you know what? A win. I'll allow that. But when you want to start learning to do a little bit more and start to improve your techniques as a painter, it's probably best to try and move away from that kind of one thick coat strategy, unless you really like that and that's what you want to do, in which case stay with it, right? Just headbutt the microphone with my headset. So sorry. Get a little bit of this grey and the silver that I put in there as well. Just bring a little bit of render to those areas. Make sure that all the gold's got it as well, because if I haven't got it, it will really, really stand out. Now it actually looks all golden. Gonna get this little tentacle thingy in here as well. Lovely. We've got that little leg plug. That is a huge amount of Bosh, be careful there. There. Neatened right up. What I'm probably going to do with these rocks is I'm probably going to dry brush them, maybe like a nice brightish mid-layer grey, and I might stain them back down with a little bit of this Basilicon and grey, just to kind of like add some variation. It just, in my head, it seems like it might be a nice idea. And then I'm going to go in with a nice sort of highlight dry brush of like a really bright grey, just to make the contrast pop a little bit more. I think that gold was a nice choice. Thanks Crumbs for getting me to do gold. I know it wasn't the rose gold, but that's where I wanted to be, I think, with this. Cool. Things I've got left to do on them then. Just see if I can tart these little dials up. Maybe I just need to put a bit more white in and make them a bit more brighter perhaps. Gonna paint the little dials in them. Hopefully they should stand out nicely. Got the little cogs to paint in there as well. On all the other ones, apart from this guy, they've all got a couple of lights on them. So we've got a light here and like a little light here, and I'm going to do those like bulbs green or something. I'm just going to paint them white and then just do like a nice sort of watery mixture of green and just make them look like they're sort of lit up a little bit. I don't know how I feel about trying to do OSL on them right now. I need a bit more practice on my OSL, but that is something I could do in the future. Come back to them and spray a little bit of overspray. Yeah, cog icons and then just bases, I think, really, and so I can certainly get that done over the next couple of days. And I really like them. Look at the blue in those eye sockets. It's really subtle. Really, really subtle. But I like it. It's really cool. Has anyone tried paint pencils, says Jeff. Are they meant to taste better than normal crayons? Yeah, but they're more expensive. I've got weathering pencils, and they're like an acrylic version of the the enamel paints that I use. First, when I was starting to use them, they were quite difficult, but I got into them the last time I was using them. They're water soluble, and that was the trick that I was missing. Yes, they are good, but they're not like the normal painting pencils. They're specifically for weathering, and you're welcome to have a go on them if you want to. I'll bring them around for you. Anyway, I'm going to come away from here now. Oh, it's starting to get a little bit warm in the studio now. I'm starting to get my sweat on. I think I need to turn my fan up a little bit and open up the windows. Ooh, tasty crayons. I'm in. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, I always had you down as a bit of a crayon chewer, to be fair. I didn't mean that. That sounded so harsh. It was supposed to be funny, and it didn't come out very funny. So sorry. But tea. Yum. Just going to check over all of the eyes on these guys. Yeah, I love that. That one could be a little bit stronger, I think. Yeah, that's come out really well. Oh, I like them. If only they were 100% bigger. They would look really cool. Yeah, so there we go. Not of the nose stuff. Yeah, please don't start using paints and crayons, guys. That's just not cool. Anyway, another lovely evening. Chilled, relaxed. Certainly a nice end to a stressful week for me with the headaches that I've had. Thank you very much for your company. Thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for subscribing. Please don't stop the sharing and the subscribing. If you haven't subscribed already, please do consider subscribing. Oh, don't even consider it. Just do it. Just be a robot. Just push that button. Give it a thumbs up. I'll give you a second. You go thumbs that video up right now. Thanks. Appreciate you. It took ages to get out the last time. No, it really did. So sad. It's still up there, actually, to be fair. I've lost track. Yeah, subscribe. That would be great. Thank you very much. And yeah, come along next week for the next exciting adventure into something quite different and not something that I haven't done before. And it's going to be hopefully quite exciting. A small range of miniatures, something very, very different. Historical, recent modern history, I suppose. And I'm very excited about it. Excuse me, I won't give the game away. You have to head on over to Easy8 Facebook to go and find out a little bit more about it. And that's enough from me on that one there. Of course, we're not just here on YouTube, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. So if you want to join me after the show for the Easy8 after party on Discord, you can do. Links to all of our platforms down there with a host of other really cool websites and Facebook pages and YouTube channels for you to go and check out. And I suggest that you do. Shiv's there saying, thanks for the stream. No worries, mate. I'll probably catch you in Discord in a minute, right? Wonderful. I have a habit of just droning on, so I'm just going to say goodbye and see you soon next week. Take care now. Bye-bye. More on Bovington and Copperton next week, because we didn't talk about it today. Maybe I should have a script. I am so sorry.